In my opinion, I think Play Anywhere is a very cool functionality, or I guess I'll say cool entitlement that you're given as an Xbox player. Xbox right now is about to leverage both the PC and the traditional console ecosystems and kind of blend them together. Merging, that's going to be interesting because they shot themselves in the foot and gave you a locked console. And I've always argued that, yes, as much as the locked console model is quite poor, Xbox at least was able to give a dev mode for its own gamers. Well, why didn't they just give Windows? I'm kind of shocked as well as another option. And I almost think that they can do it where you just basically launch, not like I almost think, it's certain that they can do it where you can launch Windows from your Xbox Series X and S. Those devices are competent. I mean, look at, what can run Windows, a Steam Deck, and all of this stuff. But Windows in itself being, a resource hog might cause some problems with, like, say, the Series S and specific games. So in some instance, I can say that UI that's on a console like the Series S probably makes sense. But the Series X, when you go up to that, it's a lot more capable than that, and that can give you that capability. But again, this is a different conversation in this case. So what I want to go ahead and talk about in this video is what we're looking for here, and that's the Play Anywhere functionality in terms of what Xbox is doing. There are about 1,000 games there, and there are a few games that are now being added. One of them is RoboCop, and that's been very interesting. I want to actually take a look at that game itself, because it's something that the game came out, and I don't think it was Play Anywhere at first, and then eventually got added, and now it's a Play Anywhere title. So Xbox wooing these developers to bring their games Play Anywhere has now become some sort of a, I don't know, maybe a status symbol, because if you look at the website, I don't know if you guys saw that just now, I can go to games, I can go to Games Home, shop all console games, shop all PC games, cloud games, and I can just click straight Play Anywhere. This now brings me to 1,344 games that are on this Play Anywhere catalog that makes, stuff really cool at the end of the day. So it's a filter, option that you can basically take into account, and you can find games that do that. Now, why is this important? As Xbox is bringing the Rogue Xbox Ally X to market, it's making more and more sense that people who want to engage in this device, any other Xbox device going in the future, which is going to leverage Windows, have the awareness of exactly what the nature of the game is going to be in its delivery. And I think this is, in a sense, creating the standard for Xbox going forward as a publisher. One thing a lot of people have not been talking about, and I got an audience member actually tag me in this tweet about the Xbox GDK, which is the game development kit that helps you basically make your builds for your game very simply. You don't have to worry about going to recreate a PC build versus a console build and whatnot. That game development kit actually gives you the capability to be able to go ahead and get the job done. So Morpheus X, shout out to you on Twitter. This was a few days ago. Tagged me in this particular small clip from a games developer conference talk, and it really does make a lot of sense when you kind of listen to it. And I'm sure there's a lot more information, but let's go ahead and let's get a sense of what's actually being, portrayed here. And I'll show you why this is something pretty cool.
PC, and there are a bunch of differences between playing in editor on PC and to really get the full console experience.
I don't know if you heard that. There are a lot of differences between playing in editor on PC versus the full console experience. What he means by in editor, I don't know if some of you know or not. I'm just going to go ahead and explain it. In editor is basically you playing on the interface of the engine. When you are making your game on the engine, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb. The engines allow for you to be able to just connect the controller and just play test the game, the level, the iteration, or whatever it is you're actually trying to make. That's actually part of the development process. So in case of Unity and Unreal Engine, you can just play right there in the game editor, which is the engine, but the interface is what they call the editor.
I and many of the people at our studio are like console developers at heart, and so it was important for us to get more hands-on with the console. But because it's so easy to do Pi, it takes a long time to do a local build, and and push it to your console if you do the builds on your PC and your PC is kind of frozen while you do all of it. You can't really do anything. And so people didn't really want to do that. It was just painful. So we invested heavily in a build infrastructure to support. You can make a change list and like shelve it and send it up to our build system, and it's going to build the Xbox version for you. And it's going to. We also have a tool that a lot of studios use for distributing builds, pushing builds directly to your PC or your dev kit whenever it's done. So people just leave their Xbox running, and they kick off this build, go back and do the other thing, and then a little while later, the Xbox build just shows up, it's done, and it's ready to run.
That's, to me, is highly encouraging, especially somebody who wants to go into console development as well with my projects, as they're coming along quite slowly, chugging along. And I think this is from the 14-minute mark in this particular game development conference. So there's a little bit of context that actually goes here. And I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a highlight as to all of this, because when you think about it, it actually allows. So when we've heard a lot of conversations about, when developers are going to develop for Xbox and for PC with PlayAnywhere, it's going to be resource heavy. They're going to have to do a lot of work and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of those people are ignoring the reality that Xbox has made this system very streamlined, whereby you can actually be developing for your Xbox console and your PC almost simultaneously via the changelog that has been highlighted here in terms of scaling their cross-platform development across Xbox and PC. This right here is where I think Xbox needs to continue to harness to improve upon this PlayAnywhere paradigm, so that more and more developers are not only aware, but can now leverage it. You see, the crazy thing about PlayAnywhere has been a lot of people are thinking, oh, you mean to tell me that they're just going to go ahead and do the Steam version and the bit? Guys, it's basically the same thing at the end of the day, because if they're doing their cross-platform, streamlined development across both, that PC version can also easily be uploaded and submitted as their Steam version as well. So Xbox is not going to throw away their console paradigm. They've built entire, layers and, frameworks to go ahead and get this stuff running for their developers at the end of the day. And I'll play it again.
And they kick off this build, go back and do the other thing, and then a little while later, the Xbox build just shows up, it's done, and it's ready to run.
I don't know if you guys know what a build would look like, but if in Unreal Engine, I can't fire up Unreal Engine in this moment. I wish I could. You go ahead and just pretty much go to, your option there's a button you click in Unreal Engine 5 now. Back in Unreal Engine 4, you have to select an option, and then you click that button, and it will just give you all of your different, SDKs that you can build to. Windows is by default, and then if you're installing the engine, you can install for Android and all of the others, or you can not install those to save some more room. And if you're doing a build, depending on how big your game file is and all of your code and everything, it can take a while to put a solid build together. And so imagine having to do a build for both, the Xbox version and then the PC version, but with their, system that they've set up in place. That's crazy that you can pretty much streamline both of them with a lot of ease.
So it kind of took the pain away of having to wait for build to do builds manually. So that's kind of the hack that we have done that brought console more back for everybody else. Plus, then people didn't have to worry about installing, the artists don't have to worry about installing compilers and everything on their PC. So it just made life easier for us.
Awesome. Phil you mentioned the Game Developers Kit, and at the coalition, it's been really effective for us for cross-platform development. If I think kind of back to where we've been in the past, we've had the Xbox with the XDK and exclusive resource applications. We've had these fragmented APIs across different platforms going back a decade ago, a somewhat misguided UWP applications for Windows development, for gaming. And now we have this uniform GDK with the C++ API that allows us to develop across Xbox, Windows, and PC handheld. And it's also this pathway to get us to xCloud streaming as well.
Why do my biggest, and this is another criticism for Xbox, why don't they just make it, just give it to everyone for the engines that are available publicly? In the case of Unreal Engine, Xbox wants you to go ahead and like go through this application process, show your game, put your game on a website, and so on and so forth. I'm just thinking, if we're iterating and we're trying to scope our game, it makes sense that we have access to this, GDK before the application process. I mean, somebody calling me surprised or calling me shocked, but again, that's a whole different conversation in their internal process that they need to work on, because I strongly believe that it's really going to help with a lot of developers who are trying to iterate fast and be ready for submission and not have to worry about, their game not meeting some requirement and such. But I guess they want you to come into the ecosystem and, get through all of those processes. That's the challenge with console submission. Steam is a lot more easier. And I think this is why Steam basically continues to get that interaction between developer and, player usage more than these consoles. I mean, obviously, some people may say, oh, shovelware and all that stuff. But you also have to think about a lot of developers who don't have the resources to do all of these other things, but they actually can focus on making their game if they're not burdened with all of this extra stuff that both Xbox and PlayStation are asking for. Think about it from a developer side, and which is not easy to do until you actually get your hands dirty. But I think PlayAnywhere has a strong basis and does have a strong, reason to be a thing that actually works out for the ecosystem. But what they're probably in a position now to, streamline is to ensure that when it's all said and done, that developers are able to leverage this ecosystem and it's made much more simple for them. All right, talk to me in the comment section, and I would love to hear your thoughts, because this is some really cool stuff, because it seems like Xbox games going forward are going to basically, be encouraging that developers do the Play Anywhere feature. And even if they don't want to do it at launch, as we are seeing with RoboCop and such, when they want to now sell more copies, it might be a thing where Xbox gamers are like, yo, is it free to, I say free to play? Is it Play Anywhere? And if it is, they're going to buy it. And if it's not, they're going to be like, well, when you're ready, it's because it's not hard, right? Now we know that it's been made simplified for even third-party developers, so they might as well leverage it. Comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.